When empires fall, who is left to tell the tale? Today, we're looking at 4 legendary warriors who conquered almost everything, yet couldn't conquer death itself. What happens when limitless ambition collides with the ultimate human limit? Let's find out. From Alexander the Great, the warrior king who wept for more worlds to conquer, to Caesar, whose ambition led to his betrayal. We'll ride with Genghis Khan, the storm from the east who built a vast empire, and march with Napoleon, the artist of war who redrew the map of Europe. These men reached the pinnacle of power, but their reigns all came to a tragic end. How did their epic stories conclude? Stick around as we uncover the final chapters of these 4 titans of history. Hey everyone, welcome to History with Shahzad. Have you ever looked at an ancient ruin and wondered what stories it could tell? These aren't just piles of old rocks. They're messages from the past, carved in stone by people who lived thousands of years ago. Every crack, every symbol, every pillar holds a secret waiting to be discovered. What were their dreams? What did they believe in? How did they build these incredible structures without modern technology? On this channel, we're going to travel back in time to unravel these mysteries together. We'll explore forgotten cities, decode ancient languages, and bring history to life. If you love exploring the mysteries of our ancient world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a new discovery. Let's uncover these ancient secrets together. History is filled with giants, men whose ambition reshaped the world. But what happens when that ambition spirals into an obsession? A hunger for power that consumes everything in its path. Today, we're relooking at 2 of the most ruthless leaders ever to walk the earth, Julius Caesar and Genghis Khan. Let's start with Caesar, the man who saw himself as the heir to a legend. While reading about the conquests of Alexander the Great, a young Julius Caesar reportedly broke down in tears. He lamented to his friends, "At my age, Alexander had already defeated the Persian Empire. What have I accomplished?" This single moment of despair ignited a fire that would burn for the rest of his life. This obsession with legacy drove Caesar to greatness, but it also pushed him toward madness. He ascended the ranks of Roman politics like a hurricane, leaving rivals scattered in his wake. He conquered Gaul, expanding Rome's territory and his own fame. Then came the ultimate act of defiance, crossing the Rubicon River with his army, a direct challenge to the authority of the Senate. This was high treason, and there was no turning back. He seized absolute power, eventually declaring himself dictator for life. The Roman Republic, with its elections and term limits, was dead. In its place stood one man's ego. Caesar himself once said, "If you must break the law, do it to seize power. In all other cases, observe it." This chilling quote reveals a man who believed the rules simply didn't apply to him. The Roman Senate watched in horror as their cherished republic crumbled. For them, Caesar wasn't a savior. He was a tyrant. They decided that enough was enough. On the Ides of March, the 15th of the month, in the year 44 BC, a group of about 60 senators made their move. They surrounded Caesar during a Senate meeting. When it was over, the mighty dictator lay dead, having suffered 23 stab wounds. His final tragic moments were spent looking into the eyes of Marcus Brutus, not just a senator, but his adopted son, his trusted friend, and now his assassin. While Rome was tearing itself apart, a far greater storm was brewing on the vast plains of Mongolia. A new power was rising, one that would make Caesar's conquests look modest. His name was Genghis Khan, a title that still echoes with fear and awe. He would go on to conquer more than twice the amount of land that Alexander the Great ever did. But unlike the conquerors who came before him, Khan never pretended to be a divine figure or a civilizing force. He knew exactly what he was, a destroyer. And he embraced it. His own words paint a terrifying picture of his philosophy. "The greatest joy," he once declared, "is to scatter your enemies, to drive them before you, to watch their cities burn, and to take everything they love." This wasn't just rhetoric. It was a promise. His Mongol hordes swept across Asia and into Europe, leaving a trail of devastation that the world had never seen. Cities that resisted were often wiped from existence, their populations massacred. The mystery surrounding his death is as ruthless as his life. To this day, no one knows for sure how Genghis Khan died. Some accounts say it was a plague, others an arrow in battle. A more dramatic legend tells of a captive princess who assassinated him in an act of revenge. But the truth was deliberately erased. Khan died during a critical military campaign against the Tangut kingdom. His final command was chillingly pragmatic. Keep my death a secret until victory is secured. His generals obeyed. Even his funeral procession was a river of blood. Anyone who witnessed the cortege carrying his body was executed, all to maintain the illusion that the Great Khan was still alive, ensuring his enemies wouldn't dare to rise up. His ambition didn't even stop with his own death. 2 men, 2 continents, one insatiable hunger for power. They carved their names into history with a sword, leaving behind legacies of both creation and destruction. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey into the dark side of ambition interesting, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more stories from the annals of history. 5 centuries after the Age of Swords, a new kind of weapon dominated the battlefield: artillery. And one man mastered this new age of warfare like no other: Napoleon Bonaparte. He didn't see himself as a conqueror, or a tyrant, or even a god. To Napoleon, war was an art. The battlefield was his canvas, and his soldiers were the brushstrokes he used to paint his masterpieces. He once famously declared, "I love power as an artist loves his craft." His mind was a supercomputer. Imagine this, it's 1805, in the middle of a massive campaign. One of his officers completely loses track of his division. While his aides are frantically scrambling through maps and reports, Napoleon calmly recites everything from memory. He tells the officer his unit's current position, where they would camp for the next 3 nights, their exact strength, their supplies, and even the officer's own service record. This was just one division out of an army of 200,000 men, all perfectly organized inside his head. He swept across Europe like a wildfire, securing victory after victory. Each battle was a masterclass in strategy, a work of art, but as any artist knows, art demands sacrifice. The death tolls mounted, the bloodshed intensified. The stakes grew impossibly high. Finally, at Waterloo in 1815, his grand masterpiece crumbled. The British captured him, but they were clever. They refused to execute him. Making him a martyr would only make him immortal in the eyes of his followers. Instead, they imprisoned him on a remote, windswept island in a decaying house with only a handful of loyal followers left. Here, Napoleon lived in complete denial. He would host these elaborate dinner parties where guests had to wear their formal military dress and elegant gowns, all pretending he still ruled a vast empire. But years of isolation took their toll, destroying him slowly from the inside out. On May 5, 1821, he died. His final words were, "France, army, head of the army, Josephine." His country, his career, his power, and his love, everything that had ever defined him, spoken in a final breath as it all slipped away. So let's recap. We've seen Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, and now Napoleon. 4 legendary warriors, 4 very different deaths. One died from a mysterious illness after being forced to retreat. Another was stabbed by the very people he trusted most. The third passed away in obscurity on the very edge of total victory. And the last withered away in isolated captivity, a king with no kingdom. But they all shared one powerful, haunting trait. Not one of them died satisfied. Not one of them died content. Not one of them ever conquered enough. They spent their entire lives taking everything they could. And in the end, they all died with nothing, because empires will always fall. Armies eventually scatter, monuments turn to dust. But ambition? That never dies. It just consumes you first. So it makes you wonder, what is it that drives you? Are you chasing something that will never be enough? Something that will just leave you empty? Or are you building something that actually matters? Something that will last? It's something to think about. If you love exploring the great mysteries of history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Join us at History with Shahzad as we uncover more ancient secrets. Thanks for watching.